Let's take a look at number 10. So my LCD here is going to be x times x plus minus 5. So I do have some restrictions here. X cannot be equal to 0 or positive 5. So I'm going to take every term on both sides and multiply by the LCD. So I'm going to do x times x minus 5 here. I'll just put it up here, x times x minus 5 here, and x times x minus 5 here. Need a lot of real estate for this one. So let's see what we can knock out here. So we can knock out the x's. I can knock out the x minus 5s here and here. So here I'm going to have 3 times x minus 5 plus 3x equals 3x minus 12 times x. So we want to distribute the 3. And then we need to combine like terms. 3x and 3x will give me 6x. On the other side, we're just going to go ahead and distribute that x to both terms. We have a quadratic equation, so whenever we're working with a quadratic equation, we need to have 0 on one side. So let's do this. Let's subtract 6x and add 15 to both sides. So that gives me 0 equals 3x squared minus 18x plus 15. Now let's see if we can factor this. Well, notice that these three terms have a common factor of 3. So that's going to be very helpful. So that's minus 6x plus 5. The only factors of 5, you have a 1 and 5. They add up to 6. Though we'll have to make both of them negative. So we do x minus 1 times x minus 5. We're going to go ahead and set each of these equal to 0 and solve. So 3 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0. And x minus 5 equals 0. This first one's going to give us no solution. Here we add 1, that gives me x equals 1. Here we add 5, we get x equals 5. Now take a look, though, at our restrictions. Remember our restrictions way up here? We said x cannot be equal to 5. So this last one has to get rejected. The 1's okay, though. So here we're just going to have one answer. Let's try the next one. And if we take a moment and take a look at this does factor to that. So that's 1 over x minus 3 minus 4 over x plus 1 equals 1 over x minus 3 times x plus 1. So our LCD here is x minus 3 and x plus 1. And our restrictions here is x cannot be equal to 3 or negative 1. So now I'm going to multiply every fraction on both sides by the LCD. And try to save room here. I'm going to put it up in the numerator. Take a moment, let the blood get back into your hand. Take a deep breath. And say, okay, on this first one, x minus 3 is divided out. We just get 1 times x plus 1 is my leftovers. Second one, the x plus 1's divide out. We'll get minus 4 times x minus 3. And the last one, well, everything divides out. So you're just going to be left with a 1 there. So 1 times x plus 1 is just x plus 1. We distribute the 4, that's a negative 4x plus 12 equals 1. Combining like terms, we're going to get a negative 3x plus 13 equals 1. And then we're going to subtract 13 from both sides. So it gives a negative 3x equals a negative 12. And then divide by negative 3, that gives you x equals 4. And that doesn't match any of your restrictions. You can go and plug in. I recommend you do it and verify you get the same number on both sides. I'll leave that to do as an exercise on your own, on your calculator. So our answer would be 4. All right, so now we've got some more practice with our factoring here. And remember, when we've got next to fourth and x squared, we're going to use our little substitution. Let u equal x squared. So this would be u squared minus 10u plus 24 equals 0. We're looking for factors of 24 that add up to negative 10. So negative 6 and negative 4 would be the ones we want. So that's going to factor u minus 6 and u minus 4. We're going to set each of those equal to 0 and solve. Here, add 6 to both sides, we get u equals 6. Here, add 4 to both sides, we get u equals 4. Oops, my bad on that one. Now remember, u is the same thing as x squared, so we plug that in. So using my square root property, I get x equals plus or minus the square root of 6. Here I'll get x equals plus or minus the square root of 4, which is 2. So our answer would be negative square root of 6, negative 2, 2, and square root of 6. try number 13. So again, I do my substitution. I'm going to let u be equal to x squared. So I'm going to write this as u squared minus 14u plus 32 equals 0. So be a little careful on this one. That 32 is negative. So remember, one factor has to be negative, one has to be positive. So let me go and write out that step. So we'd have to do 1 times a negative 32 doesn't work. 2 times a negative 16. Those are the numbers we want. So we're going to do our u plus 2 times u minus 16 equals 0. I'm going to set each of these equal to 0 and solve. So when I subtract 2 from both sides on the first one, I get u equals negative 2. And I go ahead and add 16. On the second one, I get u equals positive 16. But here, what we did is we let u be equal to x squared. So now I'm going to put my x squareds back in. Go ahead and use your square root property. This would be x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 2. And that's just plus or minus I square root of 2. And then here this would be x is plus or minus the square root of 16, which would be plus or minus 4. So we get negative I square root of 2, I square root of 2, negative 4, and 4. So this one we're going to factor. We're going to have to do for factor by grouping. First two terms have a common factor of x squared. So our leftovers would be x plus 8. Last two terms have a common factor of negative 4. So let's factor out negative 4. That'd be x plus 8. And our two pieces then have the x plus 8 in common, so we'll factor that out. What we have left is x squared minus 4. But now x squared minus 4, well, that is a difference of squares. So we'll get x plus 2 times x minus 2. And then we're going to set each factor equals 0 and solve. So on this first one, subtract 8 from both sides, we get x equals negative 8. For the second one, subtract 2 from both sides, we get x equals negative 2. For this third one, go ahead and add 2 to both sides. We get x equals positive 2. So those are our three answers, negative 8, negative 2, and 2. So for this 15 here, they have a common factor of p, so let's first factor that out. So then negative 48 we're going to have to be careful on because it's negative. One factor has to be negative, one has to be positive, and the 8's positive, so the higher factor has to be positive. So negative 148 doesn't work. Let me try that again. Negative 2 and 24 does not work. Negative 3 and 16 does not work. Negative 4 and 12, bingo. So this is going to factor into p times p minus 4 times p plus 12. And now we're just going to go through and set each of those factors equal to 0 and solve. P equals 0, that's already done. P minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides, that gives us p equals 4. And then p plus 12 equals 0. Subtract, that gives us p equals negative 12. So our answers are negative 12, 0, and 4.